Now, if you have been here for a while, you may have heard me talk about the concept of customer creation. That's a separate strategy, but it's very similar, right? Now, I'm not going to talk about like Ross's name for things. I'm just going to draw a distinction here between these two ideas, right? The studio ticket is about selling workshop access. Like you're paying to be here live on a live workshop, right? Customer creation is about creating a pre-recorded product, right? And then putting a bunch of bonuses involved and giving people a big discount on it, right? It's a similar low ticket strategy, but it's for pre-recorded content, stuff that's already in your vault. And then you also add an implementation workshop. Both of them have a $100 price point, but they work slightly differently, right? It is about, both of them are about creating a customer and then inviting that customer into your world. They're both aimed at that thing, but they're slightly different in the sense that like there's no pre-recorded content when you join here. You're just paying for access to the workshop, right? Whereas if you bought one of my other customer creation offers like Offer Engineering, like that's a training with additional bonus trainings and whatnot. It's just slightly different. So I just want you to understand these are two moves that you have from a promotional perspective to make offers to your audience without having to like do a lot of overhead, right? Like a lot of creative overhead. When I'm like offering pre-recorded stuff, I'm taking stuff I've already created for my people in the chamber and packaging that into an offer, right? There's more steps involved. I might add a sales video, right? I might write more emails when I'm promoting that thing. Whereas here, I'm just running this workshop for people in the chamber and I want to get people in off the back of it without a lot of overhead. So it's less optimized for conversions. It's far more optimized for making an offer in a lightweight fashion. Okay. So we'll just talk about workshop tickets and we'll talk about pre-recorded courses. Both are low ticket offers. You'll see in the doc, I have a name for each strategy, but I don't want you to get confused by Ross has a fancy name for a thing. So just as we're talking through this, understand the difference between a workshop offer and a pre-recorded course. Make sense? Are people tracking this so far? Any confusion on that? Yes, Fortune, we will get into that. Studio ticket then becomes customer creation. We're going to talk about how to like use the successful ticket offers and turn them into pre-recorded courses and then turn them into lead gen funnels. That's the process we'll get to. But for now, just understand the difference between these two things. If you've got confusion, type in the chat with your question. I just want to make sure we don't, we got that part clear. If I don't see any questions, I'm going to assume everyone is on board. Awesome. Okay, great. So let's keep going. So the major differences, number one is going to be the type of offer. As we said, pre-recorded product versus workshop. The second thing is going to be the amount of creative effort that we invest, right? What I've observed from running pre-recorded course offers with the customer creation strategy, which involves like if you go to my website, you can see a bunch of my customer creation products, the pre-recorded ones. They're all like $500 on my website. And those are like legit $500 products. People buy them for $500, like unprompted with no campaign, and they love them, right? And then what I will do is I'll give a deal on those things so you can get it for like $100, $150, $200, and it's a smashing deal. You save a lot of money, but when you add that component of, hey, this is a $500 product that you're getting, at a discount, and then when you also add an implementation workshop in addition to the pre-recorded content, it just feels and performs like a much more compelling offer. As I'll talk about later on, you'll see I can take the same product, the same workshop hook, and then run it through a workshop ticket versus a pre-recorded stack, like we'll talk about, product stack, and the performance is like double, right? You just get more conversions when you run the second strategy, but it takes more effort, right? So when I'm running the studio ticket strategy here, I don't write as many emails to promote it because it's just not going to be worth the effort to put all those extra emails into it. So I use less effort while promoting it and I create less stuff while doing it, as we'll talk about. Okay. Those are the two primary distinctions, the type of offer and then also the amount of effort we put in. Okay. So let's talk about leverage, right? This allows me to get customers and get people to buy, right? Without adding a ton of extra work, right? I don't have to add another thing to my project list in order to get this thing out. I don't have to like go and create a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm going to be marketing an offer this week anyway. It's just, why not market the content and the training I'm doing for my people already, right? So I just have to get started a week ahead of time, but I need to write emails anyway. This gives me what I need to write emails about. And in fact, it makes promoting and coming up with the topics of those emails super easy, right? As creative mofos, if you want to run a lean business, right, with a very profitable model, finding places where you can extract leverage is huge. So we can have one thing, which is the client workshop, fulfill on two activities, which is like delivery for my clients, but also conversion, which is creating customers and clients to come into my world, right? So this is one layer of leverage that the studio ticket offers. Now, it also adds a third layer if I run this strategy over time and observe the response rates for each workshop. Some workshops work better than others, both at creating customers and then having those customers turn into clients, right? That's just the way things work, right? Ideas in marketing are not equal. Some ideas are more energizing than others, okay? But if I observe how these workshops perform over time, the various workshops, right, it shows me what people want to buy from me. And this shortcuts my path to finding offers for products and courses that are worth advertising, right? A lot of people, they're like, how do I get my front end ad funnel to work? What makes advertising paid ads work is having something worth advertising. Having a thing that you've pre-validated that does a good job at turning people into customers and into clients. It's not about designing some black magic front-end thing. It's about having data about what works from your internal warm audience and then using paid ads to amplify that. Is that making sense? Like it's very tricky. The thing that a lot of people fall short on is they're like, oh, I'm going to build a front end funnel and I'm going to use this person's front end funnel. Like the thing that will make the funnel work is both, yes, the structure and like you can follow a proven structure. It's also what is the promise contained within that front end offer, and does it do a good job of appealing and pulling people into your world? Right? Promises are magnets. They are filters into your world, and the specific sophisticated promise that you use at the heart of those front-end offers is what's going to make it efficient at finding the people you're looking for or not. Okay? So that means that you can have one form of creativity, which is your workshops, fill the role of three activities: delivery and conversion and lead gen. Right? Making this perfectly align with the principles in the Tao of Creative Motherfuckery, which are the principles we use here inside of the chamber. Okay? So the studio ticket also comes with a lot of benefits, right? It stops you from creating too much content. I don't have to create marketing content and then client content and then lead gen content. It all comes from the same thing. It also, when I do a training like this, right, for like, it's like 2 hours max, I have to constrain the scope of my content, which is also great. It means I don't overcreate the individual products either, right? It gives me natural offers to promote week to week because I'm always, it's not confusing to me. What should I promote next? Do I have something that I'm going to do for my clients? Do I want to invite people into that? Great. It's obvious what I should promote next. And then it allows prospects to see what's inside of the chamber in detail over time. Whether someone in my email audience bought this studio ticket or not is irrelevant. They've read the emails for the last week and they are now aware that this is part of what we do in the chamber, right? Sometimes we want to perfect How do I have a single pitch session where I get all the information about what I do across in one session? Sure, that works. But what a lot of people don't think about is, how am I dripping the understanding of what I'm doing and the sorts of problems I solve across time? People look at these little bits of information that they're picking up while they're on your email list over months, and they start to form a picture of like, this dude, I think, is the guy to help me. Okay, so that's how we play the game across time. And I want us to also understand about this concept of moving through the layers of validation. Okay, as you are playing the game across time, right, what we want is to expand the reach of ideas out into the marketplace to find more people who resonate with them. All right, in our world, we call this amplifying your stuff. You've figured out the stuff that works, right? You're attracting the right people into your world. You're creating good stuff. How do you amplify what you're doing so it reaches more people? Okay. Now, as I mentioned, each workshop and product is just going to have a different energy and appeal. Not everything will work effectively. So what we want to do is find the things that are good at taking the uninitiated to our world and getting them excited to step further into our world to work with us in the Client Studio or your coaching program or your mastermind. You can swap Client Studio for whatever your high-end main location you want to be. Here inside the chamber, we help people build Client Studios because that's the model I love. Okay, so as we do this, as we put offers out, workshop offers, pre-recorded course offers out into the marketplace, again, the goal is not to sell the cheap, small ticket things. Yes, it's nice to have a little boost in revenue from doing that, but that's temporary, and it's not the big win that is signing the high-end client, which is the main objective of doing this strategy. It's a conversion method to get people to want to step into your main recurring offers. Okay. So with that in mind, the two metrics we want to keep an eye on to measure the effectiveness of these type of offers is the lead to customer conversion rate. How many people go from becoming a lead to purchasing and buying this thing? And then the customer to client conversion rate, which is of how many customers who purchased this offer, how many of them became a client, right? So as an example, for this workshop, I think we sold 32 tickets. So that gives me an idea of like how many people became a customer. And then I'm going to invite all you guys to come and work with me as part of this. And a set number will end up joining the chamber. And that will give me an indication of how successful this topic was at both creating customers when I compare it to other workshops I've run, and how many of those folks become clients. Right? As you do this over time, winners emerge just naturally as part of the process. Right? As you do that, then you want to escalate them up through a very simple process. If something was a workshop and worked well, oh, it looks like my mouse died. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to plug it in. As something works well as a workshop, or you get data that it worked reasonably well as a workshop, then what you want to do is you want to move that into a pre-recorded product. There's a very simple method for doing that. I'm going to give you some examples of how I did it here. But then you offer that to your email audience again and ask them, do they want to buy it as a pre-recorded product where you've expanded and you've included some other stuff. And if that works successfully and you're getting clients on the other side of it, then you want to consider about turning that into a lead gen funnel and running ads to it as a front end. Because if it works with your middle of funnel, your warm email audience, the chances of it working with cold is much higher than creating something from scratch. Like a lot of people ask me like, well, I want to create a lead magnet from scratch. What should a good lead magnet be? Well, it's like, well, what are the things that your audience has already demonstrated an interest in? Can you just run traffic to those? Right? And if you follow this process, like just determining what you should be running paid ads to just becomes obvious over time. Right? And if you play this game regularly, like the winners just emerge. And then I don't have to be wondering, like, what should I be running traffic to?